Hey everyone, Dave Jevney here again for another Econ 201 discussion post assignment. I've been reflecting on the concept of fairness in labor markets that was discussed in the podcast episode and article. And, um, you know, I think that how the name, image, and likeness policy impact the broader economic opportunities for student athletes is, given that less than 2% of them go pro, it just seems like the the impact there is that it gives them an opportunity to, you know, make some money while they're um, hot, while they're doing a thing where they're on national television and they're everybody knows their name and wants their jersey. And one thing I know about money is that it's so much, it impacts your finances so much more, like the broader economic opportunities for student athletes. When you have capital, it makes it so much easier to generate more capital and generate that money. And then there's a ton, in my opinion, to be said about how having a little bit of financial security in that way, stabilizes your, like, it impacts your stress levels, your performance, and different things like that. And I don't know. I haven't looked at any like studies or data, but I'm guessing that people who have, a pretty stable, secure financial situation probably, would perform better, and under less stress in just most aspects of their life. Um, and it says, if you were a college athlete, how would the potential for name, image, and likeness earnings impact your personal decision making about your athletic and academic career? Well, I know if I was a college athlete, I would want to go to a big name school that, like Alabama, or somebody who's going to be, all over, all the national coverage, and whose name is really going to be out there, not just locally where, everybody's a fan of that college, but kind of at a national or bigger level. And so that would definitely impact my personal decision making about, my academic career. And I think one of the things too that, once you start involving a little bit of money, that the students can see, I feel like that's really going to play a role in them really. I mean, I know that most of those athletes are really dedicated anyways, and they're constantly working and striving to be their best. But when you start talking about significant amounts of money, it's just that much more reason and that much more motivation for them to really, try to be their best. Um, let's see, discuss specific trade-offs you might consider that go beyond simply earning money. And I think well, I think one of the trade-offs there is, like I said, possibly going to a different school that has a better sports program, to try and get your name out there more, or make more money off the name, image, and likeness policy, and maybe making like some trade offs as far as what kind of programs they have available and how those like rank or stack up. You might, go to a less academically prestigious school, that has a more, recognized or more prestigious athletics program. So there might be some trade off there. Um, the article and podcast highlighted the complex relationship. And if I was a policymaker, this one, I thought about it, and um, I don't feel even really qualified to speculate about that. I do not envy policymakers in any area, because it seems to me like it doesn't matter what kind of a policy you make, you're always going to have not just one person, but you're always going to have a significant number of people who are going to disagree and find fault with any kind of compromise or solution that you came up with. With that being said, though, I guess the one policy change that I really do agree, that these college athletes, when the sports program is being marketed, they're employees, and they should be treated as such. They should have benefits. They should have, especially in the more dangerous games like football, they should have some kind of compensation or security in place if they were to get injured, or things like that. Well, that's one thing that really stuck out to me during the podcast and reading the article, is these constant statements by the various institutions that, like, oh, these students are not employees, they don't work for the university. And it's like, well, I think it's ridiculous, because they do. If you weren't turning around and marketing the sports that they participate in for like significant amounts of money, then I'd say, yeah, maybe you have an argument there. But you are making money hand over fist. And this is one of the things that I've known, I've been aware of this ongoing conversation for a few years now, pretty much ever since I watched Ballers on HBO with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That was a really good show. And he brought a lot of that, to light, about just the way that the NCAA and a lot of these different universities make a ton of money off of these programs. And the students, yeah, I mean, they get a good education, but when you're talking about 6-7 figures worth of money, all this money that's made in these sports programs, doesn't seem like it's should be too far of a stretch to be compensating them. So as far as a specific policy change, I really don't know really anything or enough about it. I know that it's part of the assignment to just like explain it and hypothetical it, but I'm not qualified, and so I'm gonna beg off on that. And then, considering the economic power dynamics described in the article about monopsony in college athletics. Oh, so discuss a potential real world scenario where workers might experience comparable constraints. I had a little bit of a hard time with this one too, but then I started thinking about the examples that we've been looking at in a lot of the homework assignments, where a lot of times these monopolies are with the utility providers like gas, natural gas, and electricity, and things like that. And for the various different reasons, like the economies of scale and the different things. But it seems to me like if you were living in a place where there was one of these operations going, and you were a skilled laborer with a specific like skill set or job title, like a lineman, that works for the power company. It seems like there would be a bit of a monopsony there in the like employment part of it, because it's not like you could just go and work at another power plant. It's that it's not that you would be probably the only one for that area, for probably quite a large area, from my understanding. And so you would really be you'd be limited with your employment options, and it seems to me like it would give the employer there a little bit more power as far as dictating terms, because it's the only place you can work. So yeah, so that's what I got from my discussion post, and I look forward to reading and watching all of your replies. Cheers.